Well, as you can see, we finally got some parts in. I have been waiting 2 months. I had to go back and look. 2 months to get these rods in. And these are just the shafts that'll go across. They're 8mm stainless steel. I don't know what the Rockwell is, but for the weight of this, they'll be fine. Basically, they'll go like that. The other one is actually in here. I was trying to figure out how I can space the tracks. And then these are the idler ones. They'll actually sit on the bottom here. Keep the track pushed down to the ground. And those will be 2 on each side. And then the motors, we'll come back to them in a second. So this, as far as my numbers come up with, overall, it's about 31 inches long. Fingers covering it, but about 31. But we can't have this that long. It's actually too big. So I was kind of looking at it, going from the inside of the front hub, so you have to make room for the motor, and then the back wheels actually have to be off this, because we're going to have the tensioners on the back pushing them out to tighten it. And I think the most we can go is 25 1/4. And I know you can't see that line there. Basically, we'll be cutting this part off. This part will be removed. And then we're too wide. Actually got a piece too big. As you can see, the wheels coming through the bearing, I said, let's put the caps on here so the shaft doesn't come through. And then the locker hubs on the inside. And as you can see on these, the track, you can see it better here, the wheel is actually down inside the track a bit. In this case, it's about 1.5 inches. So 1.5 inches on each side is 3 inches. So fully extend it to here, and then we need to take away 3 inches. So we're at 16.5. That'll bring us down to 13.5. Too far. So that is the width that we have to cut this down to. So we've cut that part off and this part off. Just so you can see the difference in width. Back out there a little bit. There we go. Yeah. So this is edge to edge with those, making room for the 1.5 inch track on both sides. We have to cut that much off. Didn't actually think to measure it. What would that be? Not quite 3 inches narrower. Darn it. That's okay, because that actually gives us this, or this end, either way, we can make the part that'll push this rod out to keep this track tight. Oh yeah, I was going to show you the motors. And what does it say on there? So they're 24 volt. I know my camera sucks. I was hoping facing down the way it was, it would. But they're 24 volt, 300 RPM. Come on, focus. There we go. Apparently they were made on February 20th, 21. Assembled then? I don't know. Inspected then? But anyway, 24 volt, 300 RPM. And it's got a nice heavy worm gear in here. You cannot move this with no power. I can't remember what it is. I think there's 14 gears, and they're steel. They're metal gears. There's 14 of them in there. This won't move. I mean, I suppose if I got a pair of pliers and cranked on it, maybe. But it's going to have torque. It's not going to be fast. I mean, it's a tank. It's 300 RPMs. I'll just kind of show you what it looks like assembled to the wheel. Now, I do have the wheel lock hub in there. And then the wheel itself, and as you can see, what's turning is the wheel on the shaft. I actually got the cap on it too. But the shaft itself is not turning. But this will be bolted on like that. Well, that one goes over there. So we'll have that much clearance, plus the track is about 3/4 of an inch. So where are we? That's about an inch. About an inch and a half clearance from here. And these are actually probably going to be bolted underneath the front. And then these will be, no, I take that back. The front ones have to be on top. Those will be underneath to make room for the tracks. That's the way it was. I knew they were opposite. I forgot which ones. And then the whole brains of the operation is this little MDDS 30. And what the 30 stands for is the 30 amps that it can handle. There we go. And it's a Citron. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right or not, but I'm going to call it a Citron. And what the letters stand for is it's a Smart Drive 30. Smart Drive Duo 30, I guess. It's actually a really nice, it's kind of an upgrade from the Sabertooth. The nice thing about it is it's got a built-in, you can just plug your transmitter receiver from your RC controller right into it. It can handle up to 75 volts and 30 amps. So however you want to run that voltage, but keeping the amps under 30. It says it has a burst rate of 80 amps. I'm going to probably be keeping it under 20 amps. And those are just little 24 volt motors. I'll probably be running 3S LiPos, 4S LiPo, which comes out to 22.2 volts. So this should have no issues. Now I did make one change to it that it didn't come with. I added the fan. And then that fan just blows on the offsets in between. It did come with the riser board. And then these will be screwed down in here wherever I end up putting it. I haven't decided if I'm going to make a box for it yet or not. I will not be driving it in water, but it's a track vehicle. I'm probably going to end up in the snow. We know we're going to end up in the snow. And this getting wet is probably not a good idea. But look this up. Amazon sells them. I want to say it was like 70, 75 bucks, something like that. But you plug your power source in here, your A motor, your B motor, and then you don't even need this controller hooked up. You can test your motors front and forward, and it'll move it. I mean, if you push the buttons. It's kind of an odd way to run a tank, or a device. But you can test it with that. Oh yeah, I have the fan plugged in over here. And then it has these LEDs. If you have a cross connection or something, it'll light up red. And it has 3 for left, 3 for the right. It tells you if you're good to go or if there's an error or what's going on with it. Gives you all the information you'd need. So yeah, that's pretty much all the electronics. Just going to wire the battery in, wire the motors in. The transmit or the receiver is already plugged in. It's not going to stay there. I'm just getting the wire out of my way. Now I got to print the, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do squares, but I think I'm going to round them off. Do like a rounded triangle. I don't have anything printed. I'm actually designing them now. But the shafts will go through them, and then that part will screw into this. Probably glue it too. I'll put some super glue in between them and then screw it in from the bottom. You won't even see the screws. And then once we get it all put together with just the flat board, then we'll look at a box potentially for the controller, maybe putting sides on it. I haven't decided yet if I'm actually going to make it look like a army tank or just not. Oh yeah, one other thing. Staring at us all right here in the face and not even talking about it. What is this thing that I'm building it on? It's actually a chunk of 1/2-inch polycarbonate. Where's my tape? I don't have a tape, but I have a ruler. Wrong end. But yeah, it's a 1/2-inch. Well, if you'd read it, like there we go, 1/2-inch thick polycarbonate. Basically, just solid plastic. Darn it. I can either that or I can print more track and make it bigger. No, I think we're going to cut it down. That'll help cut down some weight as well. But I just wanted to get a little video out there letting everyone know I got my motors. That's actually, I couldn't do anything. I didn't know what the diameters, the width, or anything would be until I had the motors, until I had the shafts. The other wheels are in there. I was kind of at a standstill waiting on them to get shipped on the very long voyage across the oceans. Now we got to go cut that thing. Yeah. Next update, hopefully, we'll at least be mounting the motors. And if I get the parts, then, well, actually, I'll have to mount the rear ones first. Get the tensioner so I can get the tracks tight. Then I can determine where the idler wheels will go. One of these slide out. So I want them spacing pretty evenly. I don't want them like one in the middle and one next to it. I want them spaced out so that that bottom track is always against the ground. They are not going to have any kind of springs or suspension. They're just going to be pushing down, and the bottom of the track will always just be flat. So that is going to be a disadvantage, having no suspension to it. I'm not planning on going mountain climbing with it or rock crawling. It's going to be running around basically in a yard, maybe at the park. But rough terrain-ish, but you know, just grass. Maybe some over the curb driveway out in the street. Although these probably won't do well on pavement. They're plastic. Depending, I may cut some rubber and put on them. I did get some. But I want to try them as is first before I add the weight. And then, if need be, or eventually I probably will. I'll add some rubber to all these little tracks. One, it won't be as loud. Two, it'll actually have traction on pavement instead of just spinning its tracks. But yeah, hopefully I'll have another, let's see, this is, what is today? Thursday? Wednesday? It's been a little week. This weekend I should have that cut down. Yeah, I'll have that cut this weekend. Should have the motor front wheels attached, and hopefully have the tensioning device, whatever I come up with, 3D print it and assembled or assembling it with the next video. And once that's done, then it's just a matter of bolting on the rest of it, and then we can test drive it as is. And then depending, build walls up, build, are we going to make a Johnny 5 out of it? No, he's too long. Well, could put a big arm on the top that grabs stuff. This is only using 2 channels on a receiver. I mean, obviously you can get whatever size channel rating you want, up to, what do they make, 24 channels? No, I can't run 24 channels at once. 6, my quadcopter, 6 channels is about as far as I'm going to go. But we could put an arm on there so it goes left and right, reaches out, grabs. No idea. Let's get the base working first. Thank you.